Good. Hello, and welcome. My name is Anja, and I'm a parenting success coach. And my mission has been to help these lovely parents out there with getting the support to be more conscious and to be more mindful in their parenting. And that's such a tricky road and a hard road that I wanted to start doing some interviews, have the perfect lady right here, who are real life parents demonstrating, how they're implementing different techniques and different strategies so that they stay present and are conscious in what they do. And consciousness really just that inner knowing and checking in with that to check, that we're parenting our children the way that we really want to, not just what's kind of showing up. So I'm very excited for our first interview to have the lovely Amanda Cook here. And I came across Amanda from a video she did. Actually, you could probably talk more about it. I'll just do a brief. What sparked me with it, she was discussing her son and some allergies he had, and how it became such a whirlwind for her and such a personal mission to solve this. And I was in love with her when she was mentioning how the change around for her was to move herself a little out of the situation, right? A little to be able to see it from a different viewpoint, and the changes that did happened on that.
Yes.
Right? So I think that sums it up a little.
Absolutely sums it up.
Okay, perfect. So I fell in love then and thought, wow, this is exactly what needs to be seen in the world as a perfect and wonderful example when of implementing this, of living this style this way.
Yes.
So good. So okay.
To add to that, it was really I've noticed that my well-being or lack of well-being has such a detrimental impact on my family life. So when I am not well taken care of, my fuse is short, and I recognize all of these things that are happening. Right?
And so
yes, well, and it kills me because I'm aware of it when it's happening. And so when his eczema sparked again, I was kind of amazed by my own personal reaction to it. I guess it's just the work that I've been doing and how it unfolded. Yeah,
absolutely. But it's really impressive because for many of us, we just do what we know.
Yeah.
And we just stay with that. And especially when, this idea of self-care is like prime for this. And I know that when my kids were small, it didn't even dawn on me that I needed to be me as a person. Didn't even occur to me. I just really loved being with the kids and wanted to be with the kids, and we were running our own business. But there's a burnout there, and then there's a loss of self. There's a loss of me as Anja, not just me as the wife and as the mother and as the business owner. And that is so key. So that's a fabulous awareness to come up with. And it is a journey, right? It doesn't happen instantly. We still have short fuses, even though we've had a massage, right? Or we still have. It's sad.
There's no perfection like anywhere, right? And it's coming to terms with that as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I have a few questions for you then. So in terms of when you think back before you had children to now when you have children, is there sort of a huge difference in who you are, how you see yourself?
Oh, huge. Motherhood transformed me, and not in the way I had thought it would, actually. My path changed completely with motherhood. Motherhood for me, I had this dream when I was wanting to conceive of who I envisioned myself to be as a mother and what I desired. And then I became a mother, and I was shocked in how poorly I adapted, actually. And the vision and the dream that I had for motherhood wasn't coming this effortlessly dream that I had sort of thought it would come, like it would just come. And so it took a real perseverance for me to be parenting the way that I wished and desired to parent, for it to somehow unfold naturally. But being a parent changed, oh yeah, I mean, from my daughter, you know, who's my firstborn, and now my son, and how it's all unfolded. The journey is, yeah, it's changed everything about me, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which is exactly as it should be, but yeah, definitely is a life-changing
Yes.
event. And I love how you stated that, you know, before in our imaginary parenting life, right? Oh, yeah, the calmness. I was a yogi. I'm just going to be like, oh, child, come, let me soothe you.
Yes.
And then no, I'm like, oh my God, so, you know, every morning I have to tell you the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was rough. It was really rough. Yeah. But I came out the other end. I still am working.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I don't think the journey ever ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it continues to kind of unfold. And who I desire to be now, which is fascinating compared to who I desired to be back then before having children, has also changed as well. Yeah.
Very lovely. Now, did you notice much of a change between when you had one child with you and your husband and to when the second one came along?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So my daughter, how I describe my journey with her for the first 3 years, because they're 3 years apart, was she stripped me naked. She presented to the world my vulnerability as a human being.
Yeah, it's close too, right? Right? Yeah. Not like at a little distance.
Totally. Oh, like the smile I could put on before and show the world that everything was well, I could no longer do. And so for probably the first year and a half, I would, to be fully honest, I walked around feeling just totally naked and totally vulnerable and feeling like I really had no idea what I was doing with this child who was so her own little soul and pushing me on every level to come out and really rise to the occasion, which was very challenging for me, but we worked through it. And then my son, he birthed me in love. Like he just showed me a totally different way. And I feel like I had a home birth with him. And when he was born, I felt this power within myself, that the knowing of that now I'm a mother, it just came out of me. And the natural way of being, it just kind of came through me. Yeah. So, and they're both very different kids, but I feel more confident in just as a woman and as in a parent now from the experience with my son. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's so heart opening for me to hear. I love hearing those stories. Yeah. Because you're saying like it is a journey, right?
Yeah.
But it's also being open to it. And
yes.
You know, the children are very different personalities. So there's a whole different range of parenting skills as you go along to what you're used to. And you still get a bit of a rhythm going, saying, oh, okay, so this works. And then your second child, you go, oh, hang on a second, but she always liked bananas. And you don't want anything to do with bananas, right?
Totally. Yes, they're so individual. It's quite amazing, right? And what works for one doesn't work for the other. And so it's,
Right.
Yeah, trying to find what works in unison with trying to parent two at the same time.
Right. And so from in going back to our original topic to do with self-care, what are you able to implement now as a busy mom, a working mom, as a farmer, it sounds like, raising your chickens and, you know, so many things in the air, juggling all these things. Yeah. Where would you rank your self-care still?
Well, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being amazing.
Right.
I'm probably at a 6.
Okay.
Between a 6 and a 7. And I think for me, the self-care as a holistic nutritionist, nutrition is like a key component for me. And so it's not negotiable. So I am always nourishing myself through food. So that's just become sort of second nature to me at this point.
Right.
So now it's moving beyond that, which
Right.
is what I'm learning about. And, you know, I'm meditating almost daily now, visualizing, doing other self-care techniques, which are nourishing me on a whole other level. And shockingly, how did I not know this before? Right? so it's helping me to be a better human altogether. And so, but yeah, it ranges from day to day, but I would say between a 6 and a 7.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We want it sort of more 8 and 9, right? We have that awareness. 10 is very rare. That's kind of like those sporadic moments that you get the 10 sort of happening, but in daily life, right? It is definitely, no, I think 6 and a 7, you're on the right road. That's lovely.
Yeah.
And even your awareness is to know what it is that you need to fill you up at that time. So food for you is a non-negotiable. Right? That's a wonderful way to nurture yourself. And then with your meditation, maybe, you know, when you spend time, you know, that often self-care is really thought, so many people think of it just as having your nails done or a massage or get your hair done. And sometimes that's lovely. But it is that tuning in, which I think you really have, of discovering what is it you need today and now to fill that up.
Yes.
Sometimes it's, you know what, I'm going to stop everything and lie on the couch. And sometimes it's sitting and making a cup of tea and sit in the park and the kids are playing and just breathing. But those can be those little nudges to top it up.
That's such a good point, actually. And I have found, actually, since I have been doing meditations more frequently, I am tuned in more to what I need in the here and now. So I will find myself sitting on the couch a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to tell my kids that I'm not playing right now. Go play with your brother, and the two of you go and do your thing. You know, I need some space. And they're amazing at doing that too. So it's understanding my own limits, which I'm becoming more comfortable with as well.
Sure.
So,
it's not sort of readily available out there that this is so important, you know, that this is part of it. I definitely know when mine was smaller that it was the case of like, what, you want to not be with them? What, like, it was kind of thought of as like that you just, if you get your hair done, you take your children with you. And if you get, you know, and so it wasn't fully supported. And I didn't, I think, completely realize how important it was. So I would be easy to get up to, right? I would just sort of say, okay, that's fine, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's lovely. That's lovely. So let me see. So what would you think? You kind of mentioned it briefly, but I was sort of wanting to go a little deeper in what do you think was. Can you talk about a real challenging moment that you've had? Could be recently, could be, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with the children, but how you dealt with that. Like, is there something that comes to mind that you can think of saying, okay, this is how I figured that out or learned from that?
Yeah. Well, a most recent challenge, actually, a most recent big sort of challenge I had was I recently went to a women's health conference not that long ago.
Okay.
And it was my first weekend away by myself. And I used to like love going to dinner by myself. I'd go to movies by myself, like an introvert in that way. Like I refuel in isolation, right?
Yes, I hear that.
And so I had this taste of it for 2 nights on my own in a hotel, walking at a different pace, ever so slowly stopping when I wanted to, right? And I listened to books, I watched a movie, like it was so refreshing. And I thought I would come home feeling like a rebirth. And in fact, I came home not feeling rebirthed. In fact, I felt, I came home and then it was sort of 3 days of zero time to myself.
Yeah.
It's sort of like my husband had to catch up on all the things he had to catch on while I was away. And so I went into like panic mode because when I was away, I felt this spark of creativity come through me, all the things I wanted to accomplish, this clarity, creativity. I was bursting at the seams for expansion.
Right.
And then I came home and it was literally, I was just becoming like, it was
suffocating. Like,
yes, I felt totally suffocated. And it lasted for a solid week, and I cried a lot within that week. And I really had no idea kind of what to do with myself. Right. But that's when I actually looked for support, and I looked for support to help guide me through that process, because I was so shocked by it as well that I really had no idea what to do beyond that. Right. And so that's when I really had to dig deep into meditation and to visualization, and kind of listen to the messages that I was getting from the universe that you can't do it all right now. You have to work at your own pace. It's not the pace of anybody else or others. And the priority here is your health, but the health of your kids, right? Right. And also, I think putting up the boundary for myself and saying to my husband, I need more alone time. Yes. If I know I can get more alone time, I think that my mental health will ultimately be better. The health of our family will ultimately be better. And he saw that loud and clear, because it was not a pretty week. And so, so we kind of set those limits up for ourselves as well, knowing it was actually incredible. I thought, I don't need that much time to myself anymore. And then I had that time and I was like, no, actually, I need a lot of time to myself. So
that's right. I just realized.
Recheck that box, right? And so, but I had to voice it. So it was really about voicing what I needed and finding the space for that as well. So, yeah.
Okay, that's such an awesome one. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is a real telling that there is sort of, at times, some grieving we need to have a little bit of a bit of a loss of exactly what we want to do, and no detriment to our love of our lives, no detriment to the husband, to the friends, to the animals. Yeah. It really, I think, certainly refills you, but when you come back there, it feels a little bit like that part of you's already lost a little bit again. Yes. Because you're in full demand. You've got so much of everything else going on. Yes. And I think it's that lovely recognition, and it's super. It sounds like you've got great support with your husband on the same page, in terms of both equally getting what they need out of this, Yes. And I fully relate. I fully relate to that you worded it so well that often, you like you say, you feel like you filled up, or you didn't even realize that you needed that kind of filling up of just humming a little tune to yourself, of just kind of doing things exactly as you want, Yeah. And
it's funny. I thought fueling up would be a trip to the grocery store by myself. It turns out that's not fueling up. Right. That's called a break. You're still working. You're still on the clock. You have to get home, right? So I think for me, it was really redefining, what does alone time mean? What does refueling actually mean? Right? Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're going to have to excuse me. I don't have children, but I have a dog at the door who is barking.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
So a totally different scenario. Yes, would you like to come in?
Cute.
It's just unbelievable. Here, I can let you see him. Unbelievable.
Oh, I didn't even hear. I couldn't even hear.
Oh, really? Oh, because he was like at the door. Yeah, I forgot to tell the dog I was doing this. But that would be like a kid too, right? Coming in saying, okay, time's up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So sorry for the distraction, but
that's okay.
Going back, I love that though, that you're right. And that's the part, like you say, like people sort of say, oh, but here, I'll let you go alone to do such and such. Well, if it's still exactly like you say, you're on the clock still, you're still thinking of kids, and you're thinking, okay, this child really loves grapes, and this one I'll only eat, so that's not free. Yeah. That's not able to be creative and just let your mind wander. And I think those are the moments.
That's right.
Yeah, that I really feel are so important is that doing of nothing, but just letting things be. And it's so hard to turn off that mummy brain, right? Like you say, you walk through the door, you had so much creativity and things, but you know, you were needed, you were quiet. And I love that you cried. Do you know how important crying is and how important tears are? It's a release. It's the way of just shedding.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay. It's not a weakness of any kind. It's not vulnerable of any kind. It's just letting go. And it's the way of our body getting us back in the moment.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. And I didn't have a choice.
Yes.
The tears were coming for days. So it was just coming out of me. So yeah. But yeah, it did shed a lot of things and helped me to get some clarity as well once the tears sort of finally stopped.
Yeah. And then redefine it, like you say. I mean, it's so amazing now to sort of realize different boundaries of saying, okay, this is, and like it doesn't always have to be a long time, right? It doesn't have to be like how beautiful to get a weekend, beautiful to get an evening, beautiful to get an afternoon, but that reaching out for support, or finding ways that you sort of say, okay, if I just, you know, can get this 1 hour, and for you it could just be drawing or coming up with recipes or doing something that you just let your mind, there's no time limit, you're completely in that moment.
That's such a good point. You know, it's so funny becoming a parent. It's like I'm bound to time.
Yes.
Time is of the essence, always, right? What time is that? You know, lunch or snacks or nap time or school, and there's all of these. And so not being bound to a time limit is a very liberating thing when you've had children, and to move away from that and to just let things flow. I do need more of that. Right?
And you really, because of how you're working, you're going to find it. You're going to find where it is. And, you know, we have to always remember, like, our children, we know are really, really important, but they are so much better if we are better. They're so much better if they see that we are, you know, in a good place.
Yes.
Or we, you know, are discussing, saying, oh, I've come up with this great recipe, I'm going to practice it.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can still be around maybe, but that's where we're going right now, right? That's what we're doing and kind of claiming that. So that's beautiful. That is lovely. Great.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is so fun. Okay, super. So I think we've got it all. Oh, and then I was going to ask just to, the other side of conscious parenting. So we've got the self-care, would be the support. Like, do you have sort of enough support around you on a regular basis, or is it a little sporadic?
It's sporadic. It's interesting because my family we're in Alberta. My family lives in Ontario. My husband's immediate family lives in BC.
Okay.
He has a very large extended family who live in Alberta, but everybody's extremely busy. So we actually don't have a lot of support. Right. Although I try to give myself the affirmations, I am supported. I have a lot of time supported, right?
Beautiful. Love affirmations. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we pay for it, like a babysitter to come. So it's here and there. But my husband and I are truly a great team because you know, he gets my dream, he supports it, and I get his dream and I support it. And then we're coming to understand like the deep importance of really fulfillment, like not just together but individually. So trying to support that. So there is a lot of passing off of the kids to give each other the space and the time. So my biggest support really is my husband.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I love that you, like you say, it's okay to pay for a babysitter. It's okay. Yeah. Sometimes I know my brothers in Australia, and they have some great neighbors with children similar ages, and they pay off each other. So somebody will go, all the kids at this house, and the other parents go, or it will be a babysitting thing. And even, I mean, I was a little obsessed. I didn't really like to leave my children with anybody. I was a little overprotective in that manner. But it was the point of just having that you could work it around a few hours, you know, to have a teenager. My daughter babysits all the time over here.
Yes. And
my neighbors feel blessed that they're like, oh, because she can come for an hour. She can come for 2 hours, you know, and it's well worth it.
Yes.
And
it's
the kids
true.
love it. Then my kids always used to talk about they had these babysitters, and it's so funny because in my recollection, wow, they must have only been babysat once or twice in their life, other than in-laws or people, you know. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, good.
It's funny because kids, like we have a neighbor, she's 11 and she's just starting to babysit. So it's like, I'm so excited about that.
I know, really, should be the perfect age.
Yeah, and my kids, the younger the better for my kids because they just get right down and play with them. So for them, it's like a treat, right?
Yeah.
For somebody to come in and watch them who's younger and also a child as well, right?
Absolutely, and she can maybe even come while you're there, but in the other room also, you know,
that's right.
things to do as a way of just sitting in around what's happening. Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's great. That's great. So let's just do a little plug. Talk about your business. I'm not even clear on the business side too much of what you do. So please tell us what your dreams are.
So I'm a holistic nutritionist out in just outside of Edmonton. And my dream and my vision, it's women's health, mama self-care as well, especially for women, but raising children to be happy, healthy, unprocessed, filled kids. So I really plug the vegetables and the fruits and the whole food diet and trying to move and create awareness away from sugar. So sugar is really my lens to build up how easy it actually is.
Right.
So that's my, and I have some ebooks on my website and a program.
We put all the plugs. We'll put it in when we have this out. We'll have it all there so people can find you, because I think that's a fabulous resource for mothers to have and parents to have, because you're living it.
Yes.
Not just as something, it's really sort of something you're passionate about, and you, like you say, for your own self-care, that has been such a key thing. So you know, who wouldn't want that?
And it's funny because this year my daughter went into kindergarten. So in Alberta, it's half days.
Okay.
So I still have control over lunch here for this year.
You're okay.
But as she leaves the nest a little bit at a time, I'm coming to understand the importance of her education in health and nutrition as well. And really trying to working with parents and clients to empower their own children. And through nutrition, body awareness, eating for self-love, what it means to eat for self-love, and eating whole foods that build you up instead of bring you down. And she has so many questions, and she's such a curious little monkey of, you know, trying to find things out, and she's fascinated by the human body, and I'm so grateful for that. Because she sees what some other kids are eating in school, even in their snacks, and she questions, you know, why. And so it's not about judgment. I say to her, you know, everybody thinks differently about what they should eat, and so about what's important for us and how we eat at home is important as well. So.
And the main key there, I'll tell you, is that you're leading by example. That's what she's doing. So she's learning that this is the foods we have at home. I remember my son, I don't know whether he was 7 or 8, crying in the grocery store because I wouldn't buy him Lunchables, for example.
Oh, yes.
And he said, the minute I earn money, I'm going to buy, I don't know, Cheese Whiz, Lunchables, like this revolting thing, some cereal or whatever. And by example, because we do eat fairly healthy, I'm not quite at your level. I like but I know, I get it. And, but he, you know, he's downstairs making a great big salad, and he's bothering grading things and finding extra things and really enjoying that, because that's just been around. And yes, he'd rather live off pizza at times, but he's noticed for himself at 19 how I actually don't feel good if I'm eating like that.
Well, I think that's
what you carry on, right? It's just based on, well, this is what we implement.
Well, that's it. Like, this is what I say to my, like, there, you know, she's been to a few birthday parties and had some things, and because we don't eat gluten or dairy either in our house. And so it's asking, how do you feel? Right? Like, what are your bowel movements like afterwards? Like, it's kind of like all of that. And it's true. This is what I say to parents and clients is, if you want your kids to eat differently, you have to eat differently first.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't even talk to your kids about eating differently until you change your own habits.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're also indifferent in what they will do. And as soon as it becomes a battle, because you're showing it as a way of life.
Yes.
Is when it becomes that battle, or it becomes about control, as soon as
Yes.
that's in there, you lose it. You lose the battle. You may as well just give up, even if you stress over it and really fight it. It's just as it is. You know, we would sit and we put the table with all the different lovely foods.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see how it goes. I mean, I thought I had it down because my son was a fabulous eater, and I thought, these parents, what are they doing? And my daughter, no way. She lived off bread, white bread, and pasta for her first one, and milk that I breastfed.
Yeah.
But that was it, and she loves fruit and veggies, and she's really into healthy eating, you know, by herself. But as a little child, you'd never have known. You would have been like, oh my gosh, how's she ever
I know.
any of the baby food, mashed up, anything. She didn't want anything to do with it, right? But it was around, and they come around.
Yeah, it's so true. They do come around, and I have to remind even myself of that, because my son isn't a very picky eater, but he's also entering 3, so he's really coming into his own, and really, you know,
he's figured out he's not you. He's figured out, hey, I got a better choices here.
Yeah, totally, exactly. So it's allowing that, but I'm always putting what we eat on his plate. So there's always something he likes, but there's always something else as well, right? So it's constantly just exposure. So that's good to know. And I hear that from other people. My kid was so picky, and now they eat all this stuff. I'm like, yay!
It does. And again, it's their journey and their way of figuring out, you know, if mom's cooking, this is what we're going to have to eat.
Yes.
You know, and once they start to earn money and have more choices and more freedom, you know that you've implanted what needs to be, and you don't change yours. And they can maybe go the other way, or maybe not. Right?
Yeah.
That becomes theirs.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you, Anja. This has been wonderful.
Really
I so enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you. So I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.